There's this type of artificial intelligence that's kind of quietly shaping our world every single day. I'm talking about everything from the fraud alerts on your phone to the shows that get recommended on your TV. It's called supervised learning. And, well, in the next few minutes, we're going to break down exactly what it is and, more importantly, why it's such a big deal.
Okay, so have you ever gotten that text? You know the one. From your bank, asking if you really just bought a giant flamingo pool float in another country? How in the world do they know to flag that specific transaction almost instantly? Well, I can tell you the answer isn't some person watching your account 24/7. Nope, it's a really powerful form of AI. And yep, you guessed it, that type of AI is supervised learning. So in super simple terms, it's kind of like teaching a computer by showing it a massive photo album of stuff that's already happened, where you've already labeled the outcome for each picture. The AI just studies all these examples, starts to find all the hidden patterns, and then, boom, it uses that knowledge to make these incredibly accurate predictions about totally new situations.
So this is not some far-off futuristic concept, right? Supervised learning is already deeply embedded in the tools we use every single day. So let's take a look at a few industries where it's really making a massive impact.
All right, first up, the world of finance. I mean, in an industry that's literally built on predicting outcomes and managing risk, you can bet supervised learning has become an absolutely essential tool.
Really, it all comes down to seeing the future by understanding the past. We're talking about analyzing millions or even billions of past transactions so these models can spot potential fraud in real time. They can look at a new loan applicant and assess the risk based on tons of historical data, and they can even try to forecast the incredibly complex movements of the market. It's pretty wild.
Okay, next up, let's switch gears to a field where accuracy can literally be a matter of life and death: healthcare.
What's really fascinating here is how AI acts as this super powerful assistant for doctors. Think about it. It can be trained on thousands upon thousands of medical images. We're talking X-rays, MRIs, and it can learn to help spot signs of disease that just might, be missed by the human eye. Now, this doesn't replace doctors, not at all, but it gives them an incredible tool to support their decisions.
All right, let's look at an industry we all interact with constantly, whether we even realize it or not, and that's marketing.
You ever wonder why Netflix or Spotify are just so darn good at recommending what you'll like next? Yep, that's supervised learning. These platforms are constantly analyzing your past behavior to predict your future tastes. And get this, they can also predict which customers might be about to leave, that's what they call churn, and then target those folks with special offers to get them to stay.
And finally, let's head over to the world of retail. This is an industry that absolutely relies on getting the right product to the right place at exactly the right time.
This is all about efficiency. By predicting the demand for specific products, stores can make sure they have enough in stock without, over-ordering and having stuff sit around. For you, this means you're way more likely to find what you want on the shelf. For the business, it just operates more smoothly. It's a classic win-win.
Okay, so we've seen what it does in all these different areas, but the big question is, how does it actually work? Well, the secret sauce behind all of this really comes down to one key ingredient, something called labeled data.
The process is actually pretty simple when you break it down. First off, the AI model is fed tons and tons of historical data where we already know the outcome. Then, it just crunches through all that information to find the subtle patterns and connections. And finally, it applies those patterns it learned to brand new data to predict what's going to happen next.
And this quote really gets to the heart of what we mean by labeled outcomes. So think about a marketing campaign. Every single time an ad is shown, it gets a label. Was it clicked or not clicked? Or for an online store, every visit gets labeled purchased or not purchased. These really simple, often just yes or no labels, are the entire foundation of the model's education.
Let's make this super concrete. Think about any online store you use. It has a record of all your past visits, right? It knows what you clicked on, what you put in your cart, and what you actually bought. All of that's historical, labeled data. The store can then turn around and use a supervised model to predict the chances you'll come back and make another purchase.
So, what's the big takeaway here? Why is this massive shift towards prediction so important for businesses and really any organization? Well, it's about moving from a defensive position to an offensive one. It's all about gaining that proactive advantage.
Think about it like this. On one hand, you have a reactive business. They wait for a problem to happen, and then they respond to it.
But on the other hand, a proactive business uses supervised learning to try and prevent that problem before it even happens. It's the difference between just analyzing what went wrong yesterday versus trying to anticipate what might happen tomorrow. At the end of the day, it's all about reducing uncertainty. So when you think about it, from spotting fraud and helping detect diseases to just making sure your favorite cereal is on the shelf, supervised learning is already here. It's making our world more efficient, more predictable, and that leads to a really fascinating final thought, doesn't it? Now that we can teach machines to learn from the past, to predict the future, what on earth will we teach them to predict next?